History is written by the victors, but what happens when the truth is buried under 2,000 years of lies? We were taught to remember her as a goddess of beauty, a seductress who lured the titans of Rome to their doom. But the coins found in the dust of history tell a different story. They reveal a face you wouldn't recognize, and a mind that the Roman Empire was desperate to silence. Was Cleopatra truly the world's first victim of a global smear campaign? Today, we are peeling back the layers of Roman propaganda to uncover the genius hidden behind the myth. Before we dive into the secret archives of the Nile, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications. Join our community of history seekers as we challenge the legends and rediscover the truth. Now, let us journey back to Alexandria to meet the woman who shook the world not with her face, but with her fire.
Imagine a woman whose name is synonymous with extraordinary beauty, flawless skin, and the seductive charm that brought the world's most powerful men to their knees. For 2,000 years, we have known this figure as Cleopatra VII, the last queen of Egypt. Her name has been immortalized in Renaissance paintings, Shakespearean plays, and grand Hollywood epics. But what if I told you that this image is the result of one of the greatest black campaigns or political hoaxes in human history? What if the woman we have long considered a femme fatale was actually an intellectual genius whose physical appearance might not be at all what you imagined? Welcome to the search for truth. Today, we will dismantle how the Roman Empire manipulated history to destroy the reputation of a woman who was simply too brilliant for them to control. For centuries, our visual references for Cleopatra have come from the imaginations of European artists seeking to depict an exotic icon. However, modern archaeological evidence provides a very different and quite startling perspective. In 2007, a silver coin from her reign was rediscovered and studied. The coin does not show a woman with delicate or perfectly symmetrical features. Instead, we see the profile of a woman with a prominent, hooked nose, a very strong chin, and teen lips. By modern beauty standards, or even the standards of the Roman aristocracy at the time, this was not the face of a beauty goddess. Even ancient historians like Plutarch, who wrote her biography only a few decades after her death, provided a very honest assessment. He wrote that Cleopatra's beauty was not in itself incomparable or something that immediately struck those who saw her. This raises a massive question. If she lacked conventional, captivating beauty, how did she manage to bring Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, two of the most powerful men on earth, to their feet, risking their lives for her? The answer lies in a fact, often intentionally omitted from general history books. Cleopatra's real weapon was not her eyes, but her tongue and her brain. She was the only member of the Ptolemaic dynasty who went to the trouble of learning to speak the native Egyptian language to win the hearts of her people, in addition to being fluent in at least 8 other foreign languages. She was a cold strategist, a master diplomat, and an expert in mathematics and philosophy. When she met Julius Caesar for the first time, she didn't just rely on physical charm. She smuggled herself into the palace to secure her throne through a very calculated political alliance. Cleopatra's presence was described as a symphony. Plutarch noted that her voice was exceptionally sweet, and speaking with her provided an incredible intellectual stimulus. She was a woman who could discuss international economic policy in the morning and plot military strategy at night. This is what truly terrified Rome. After the death of Julius Caesar, the Roman world was split between two great powers. On one side was Mark Antony, who formed a relationship with Cleopatra, and on the other was Octavian, the ambitious man who would later be known as Emperor Augustus. To defeat Antony politically and militarily, Octavian needed to destroy Cleopatra's reputation first. Why? Because attacking Cleopatra was far more effective as propaganda than attacking a fellow great Roman general. It was at this point that the greatest historical hoax began to be crafted. Octavian launched a massive black campaign. He didn't want the Roman people to see Cleopatra as a legitimate ruler, a dedicated mother to Caesar's children, or a wise queen to the Egyptian people. He wanted the world to see her as the wicked witch of the East. Poets and historians under Octavian's control began writing a new, highly biased narrative. They deliberately ignored Cleopatra as political intelligence and began to portray her merely as a seductress who used sex to manipulate noble Roman men. In the official Roman narrative, Cleopatra had to be depicted as a monster or a woman without morals, so that Octavian's eventual military victory would look like a rescue of Western civilization from the corrupting influence of the East. And this is the most tragic part of our history. It is this Wiener Snarret that we eventually inherited. Because Octavian won the war, his version of Cleopatra became the official history taught for centuries. Medieval historians and Renaissance artists were far more interested in her tragic love drama than her shrewd foreign policy. For them, it was easier to accept a story that a great man fell because of lustful temptation than to admit that a woman from Egypt was capable of matching the intelligence of Rome as greatest leaders at the negotiating table. We have consumed Augustus's propaganda for 2,000 years without ever questioning it. The truth is, Cleopatra was a mother, a warrior, and a ruler who successfully maintained Egypt's economic and political stability in the midst of a chaotic and deeply patriarchal ancient world. She is living proof that charisma and intelligence are far more enduring and far more dangerous than mere physical beauty standards. As we look back at the ancient tombs and the ruins of Alexandria today, we must start asking ourselves how many more historical figures have had their achievements erased and replaced with shallow narratives just because they were on the losing side. Cleopatra may not have had the face of the modern movie stars who often portray her, but she had a mind that shook the foundations of the largest empire on earth. It is time we stop seeing her as a mere object of beauty and start respecting her as one of the most brilliant politicians and thinkers to ever live in human civilization. Roman historical manipulation may have succeeded in obscuring the facts for 2 millennia, but in this age of information, the truth is rising to the surface. Cleopatra never needed physical beauty to be a legend. She only needed an intelligence that surpassed her time to ensure her name would never be forgotten by world history. The image of Cleopatra as a mere temptress is perhaps the most successful character assassination in human history. For 2 millennia, Octavian's propaganda won. But today, as we look at the evidence of her intellect, her linguistic mastery, and her political courage, the wicked witch of the East vanishes, and a brilliant sovereign emerges. But what do you think? Was Cleopatra estrupała her mind, or has history been too harsh on her physical legacy? I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below, and let's start a debate. If you enjoyed uncovering the lies of the Roman Empire, you'll love our next deep dive into insert name of another video. For example, The Secret Life of Julius Caesar, which you can click right here. Don't forget to like this video if it changed the way you see the past. History is full of shadows. Thank you for helping us bring the light. I'm your narrator, and I'll see you in the next discovery.